Hey everyone, J-Rob Plays here, and today's video is going to be an LFG guide for Substratum, the first encounter of the new Salvation's Edge raid. It's now past contest mode, so more people are going to be getting access to it. More people are going to be willing to get into the raid and try out these mechanics for the first time. And this raid is so beautifully designed mechanically that it's going to be a wake-up call for a lot of people who aren't used to having to actually perform the mechanics themselves. This raid leaves very little room for people to just be ad clear, for example. I know it's kind of a running joke in the community that I got ad clear people, but there is generally some raids in which that's okay. People are going to find that this is a raid that they're not going to be able to get carried through for the most part because of how demanding these mechanics can be, especially on contest mode. They were very demanding. Now, the way that this video is going to be designed is it's going to talk first roughly about the structure of the fight. Then I'm going to go into team compositions and how you should break up your teams. Then I'm going to detail the mechanics, and then I'm going to detail the enemies and how they interact with the mechanics. So there'll be times in which you'll hear a couple of different things multiple times, but just because the sections, the way that they overlay, the way that they layer and the mechanics layer, require you to have an understanding of how these things work so that you can make sure you get through this encounter efficiently and you're not the one holding your team back. And of course, if you're watching this video already, you're somebody who's going to be doing research, try to find how the mechanics work. So you already have a leg up on a lot of people that are going to be found in LFGs, but still this is going to be a guide really geared toward people who don't have a set team, and you're going to have to find obviously five other people, or three or four other people, depending on if you have another buddy that you're playing with regularly, and you're gonna have to gel very quickly because this is a coordination fight. And all of the fights for the most part have become coordination fights based on what we've seen on the Salvation's End raid on contest mode. So let's begin with how to start the encounter in the first place. Once you get to the main encounter room, everybody has to be into the room, the doors will close, and then a box will spawn in the center of the room. And then near the box in the center of the room, a small little nugget, a little triangle will spawn, a resonance triangle, and that's going to be how you start the encounter. You pick the resonance up, you'll get pyramidal resonance with a little timer on it, and then you deposit that into the box. Now that's going to be a central mechanic in this encounter, that box. So just keep that in mind, keep that box in mind, and keep that position in mind, because we'll be revisiting this box multiple times throughout the encounter to progress it and start new chains. Now, just roughly, I'm going to just go over how the flow works. You'll have two teams of three. They're going to be progressing in their own chains through three different sets of rooms and then moving back to the middle. From there, they're going to go back through those three sets of rooms until they reach a plate, do the plate mechanics, which is going to allow you to come back into the middle to that box. You're going to then interact with the box, and then that's going to extend your timer that you have going throughout the whole fight. Because, by the way, you have like a 5-minute timer that if you don't complete the mechanics in that time, will wipe you. And the way that you progress the encounter is by going through the encounter mechanics and coming back and meeting at that box, interacting with the box. And you'll have to do that 3 times in a row without letting your timer hit 0, or without everybody, of course, dying from the ads and such. And then you'll be able to complete the encounter. So that's going to be how roughly the encounter works out. Again, teams break up. You go through your rooms, you progress the mechanics, you come back to the box, rinse and repeat until you're done. Now let's get specific on the team layout so that way you guys can set up your teams for success. So you're going to want to first prioritize survivability in this encounter because living through the encounter is more important than anything else. Deaths are going to delay you timing wise, and they're going to also have the added effect of punishing you because a death usually means you mess up a mechanic, and messing up the mechanic means you're going to have more difficult ads to deal with. So survivability is what you're going to run. You're going to run healing grenades, things with overshield, frost armor, woven mail, things that are normally going to keep you alive as you go along. And the two teams, these two teams of three, we're going to be broken up into which room they enter in every time you do a room reset. So the way that our successful team did it was we broke it up into corner teams and middle teams. The middle team would go into middle doors every single time we had a room reset, and the middle doors are going to be the rooms on the left and right, and then the room that you entered in is a middle room, and then the room directly across from you where the boss's hand spawns, that's also a middle room. So those are the 4 middle rooms, and your team will be going into whatever of those 4 middle rooms opens up first, and then after every time you do a mechanic reset, doing the mechanic correctly, you'll be going back into the middle room wherever that middle room opens up. So that way there's no confusion and people don't get lost. They know who to follow. The other team will be the corner team. And if you're looking at the boss's hand, where the boss spawns, you're going to actually see on the right of his hand, on the left of his hand, are openings in the floors. Those will then slide open, and you can drop down into those and begin progressing through those sets of rooms on either side. So the other 2 rooms are going to be further to the right and further to the left, and they're going to be sets of stairs that lead up into the ceiling. Those rooms are going to allow you to, same thing, climb those stairs and progress through your sets of rooms. So for the corner team, those are what you're going to be looking for. And for the middle team, you have the easier job. Your room's just whatever's in the middle area that we're going to go into. The way the rooms work is each room is going to be a mirror of the other team's room, and each room that you complete successfully will progress the other team's other rooms. So each team is kind of tied to each other in speed. If one team is much faster than the other, one team is going to be waiting on the other team to complete their side of the things before they can move on. Now, the way you complete the rooms is by killing the ad that's in your room that's going to help progress the other team's rooms. So you're starting out first with a red bar Minotaur, or orange bar, should I say, orange bar Minotaur, and that orange bar Minotaur is going to spawn in the other team a orange bar Hydra. And that Hydra is actually really strong. It does a bunch of damage on contest mode. It was easily killing us in 3 or 4 shots. It's not going to be so bad without the contest mode, but you do want to make sure you're paying attention to where it spawns, because if you forget to look for it, it can easily kill you very quickly because of how it does splash damage, and it's got like a rapid fire to its attack. Killing those hydras for either side will then spawn an overload minotaur in the next room, and you have to go in there and kill the overload to spawn a tormentor in the middle room. Now, the overload, it's important to make sure you get the stun in before you go into the room, because sometimes the overloads don't stun. That was something we're running into regularly, so you just have to make sure you get that stun in, then you can go in there and you can clear that room out, and killing the overload will then spawn that tormentor like we discussed. And it's kind of a race on both teams to kill their overload, because once you kill the first overload, the other overload will despawn if it's available, and then you still have to go to the middle to kill the tormentor. Now, for the tormentor, it's important that both teams leave their chains and leave their rooms to go back to the middle to kill the tormentor, so that you can get a room reset after killing that tormentor. And that's going to help kind of clear up the chains to make sure that you know where the plates are going to be as you go along. So since it's a torment, you're going to want to make sure you have tormentor killing weapons like sniper rifles, linear fusion rifles. I myself was using the new heavy linear because it does a ton of damage, and it actually gets additional bonus damage when your super falls off. And I was actually using my super to clear the overload room, and then coming out and using the remainder of my super, Song of Flame, to help pop the shoulders on the tormentor and get as much damage in on the tormentor as I could. I was also running a sniper rifle just in case, for whatever reason, I was in between super or transcendence. And you do want to use Transcendence as often as you can on the Tormentor, because with Transcendence, it's going to allow you to do bonus damage, so that way you can stack up not only the Transcendence damage, but you can stack up the damage from falling off on your super, and you can get those two things to help you quickly deal with the Tormentor, because what the Tormentor's role is the Tormentor will allow you to reset the doors and open more doors eventually. So now that you've done one full set, you've killed the Minotaur, Hydra, Overload, and Tormentor, a new set of doors is going to open up. That's going to be what I refer to as like the room resetting. And those new sets of doors are going to be another corner door and another middle door. When you go through those and you run through those, you're going to be racing again to get all the way through the sequence to kill another Overload and spawn a second Tormentor. Now, the second Tormentor is important because once you spawn 2 Tormentors, all the doors will open up, allowing you to return back to your plate rooms. The way you know where a plate room is going to be is one of the rooms in which you kill the overload will be a plate room, and then adjacent to it, in one room over from that, it'll either be, to the right or to the left when you enter the room. And for the corner people, to the top or to the bottom, sometimes you have to climb or drop down. There'll be another room with a pillar inside of it that has now opened up and begin glowing in the center. There's a small little glowing triangle in the first encounter inside of these pillars. Now, the pillar and the plates are the important progressing mechanic, because these are going to be how you create resonance to deposit in the center box, and to actually complete the encounter by depositing sets of resonances multiple times. The way the encounter again is completed is to do this sequence 3 times. So at this point, you've killed 2 sets of enemies through the Tormentor, you have all doors opened up, you return back to your room where the plates are. The initial plate is going to have a small orange glow, and the second plate will not be glowing, but it'll be right next to the pillar that you'll be interacting with. And how it works is stepping on the first plate sends a little bit of energy through the copper wiring on the ground, and that wiring will then light up as it goes through into the next room until it reaches the center of the square of the next plate, which is next to the pillar. And then that plate can be interacted with to return it back to the first pillar. Now, this mechanic is actually very tight and somewhat unforgiving, because you can't step on the plate too early, because the plate will fizzle and the energy will disappear at starting the chain over again. And if you step on the plate too late, the plate will not be interactable, it will also fizzle. In either of these cases, when you make enough mistakes, you're going to get a subjugator spawning, and that subjugator, that new enemy type, is going to lock out the plates for everybody until the subjugator's dead. It's very tanky, it's got all the subjugator abilities, whether it be stasis or strand, and it can easily kill people if they're not paying attention, because the subjugator will spawn in and just start going to town on people. So you want to make sure that you don't make a mistake on these plates to spawn that subjugator, because that'll delay you. And of course, you have your 5-minute timer for the final shape looming in the background the entire time. Now, a successful plate mechanic, what it's going to look like is as the plate begins to glow and somebody says to you, hey, I'm sending the energy back to you, or say sending it back, you're going to see that it's primed, but don't step on it yet. When you actually see the energy enter the center square and touch the middle, a small pool of energy is going to start to resonate over that and begin to kind of close in on itself. That's when the pool is actually able to be stepped on, and that's when the plate is actually able to be activated, and then it's going to send it back successfully to the other team. I've seen so many people see it light up orange and then immediately step on it thinking, oh, it's ready, but it's not. You have to make sure that that little pool has showed up and begin to close, and you have to make sure you don't miss that window, because that window is pretty tight. It's like 1.5 to 2 seconds. So in between fighting the ads and in between surviving, you have to really pay attention. Okay, is that pool up? And then can I step on it and send it back? Now, the reason why we're doing this in the first place, sending this energy back and forth, is doing one circuit back and forth will create resonance triangles in both rooms and in the center room. And those resonance triangles are going to be how you not only progress the encounter by depositing them in the box in the middle, but also how you confirm the pillar, which is going to allow the resonance box to show back up in the middle, because you'll notice the resonance box disappears once you start the encounter. Now, for the pillar itself, the pillar can only be closed by having somebody with resonance shooting the pyramid in the center and then stepping on the plate when it's active to confirm that, closing the pillar. So the way the sequence should work is you're going to be passing it back and forth either 3 or 4 times. If you have a lot of extra time, passing it back and forth 4 times is ideal. 3 times to get enough resonance for everybody to pick up and everybody to stack up to times 3, which the resonance can be stacked to times 3. That's an important note. If you pick up a 4th resonance, it will kill you. And each resonance that you deposit is going to give you a higher stack of time to do another circuit all the way through. So ideally, you want to try to get 4 passes done, 3 to create the resonance, and the 4th pass on the way back to the pillar place is going to be where you lock in the pillar. And you can only lock in the pillar when the energy is coming directly to you. So once the person in the main room is sending that final push, they're going to say, sending it now, close the pillar. The person who's going to be closing the pillar will either have already picked up the resonance off the ground and be carrying up to 3 stacks, or they can run and pick up resonance really quickly, get the resonance, and then you'll shoot the little triangle in the center getting damage numbers on it. That's how you know you've done it correctly. The outside of the pillar will begin to glow kind of a slight yellow in certain places. That's letting you know it's primed. And then as soon as the energy pool shows up on your plate, when you step on that after doing that sequence properly, the pillar will then begin to glow fully yellow and lock in, and it'll close over the little small pyramid and stay glowing yellow. That's how you know you're done with your chain. And that's how you know that you're going to be going back to the middle of the room to do a deposit phase where you're depositing anybody's leftover resonance. Now, keep in mind, there's going to be 2 teams that are doing this at the exact same time. So you'll have to be able to, over the comms, make sure you clearly hear who you're working with to do the back and forth on the plates. And since you have 3 people in each group, one person is going to be left out. That person's job is going to be to clear ads for the people on the plates, because each time a plate is ping-ponged back and forth, a group of ads is going to spawn, starting with the second room and then back again to the first room. So the ad clear, quote unquote, ad clear person is going to help kill the ads so that the plate person can do their job unharassed. But they're also going to, in between the plates transferring back and forth, run into the center room every time that there's like a little lull in the ad spawning. And they themselves are going to grab 3 of the triangles if they can, so that they have resonance to deposit at the end of the plate passing phase. So that third person, if that's your role, you're going to clear ads in the first room, you're going to go clear ads in the second room, and then you're going to go into the middle room very quickly in like a little bit of a loop, grab your 2 or 3 resonance that are available, and then come back to try to help the first plate person, which is the person that started it. And if they don't have any ads, return quickly back to the pillar person, because they're going to be the most crucial at that point, so that they can shoot the pillar safely and then close the pillar. And that's going to be that person's role, that third person's role, kind of that floating role. So they're just as important as the people on the plates, because they have to grab resonance and they have to help kill ads. Now, the plate people, of course, can't just stand around hitting the plate. You're going to have to kill your own ads too. So I recommend saving your transcendence or keeping a super available to help clear certain ads. Once you get into a bad situation where the energy is coming to your plate and you're on the close phase, you're going to want to make sure that you do something to clear the room so that you can safely shoot the triangle in the center of the pillar, and then make sure that you're timing correctly the closing of the pillar by stepping on the plate, and then you're going to then book it to the middle room. So once both teams have done this, everybody's going to converge in the middle room, and you're going to have a subjugator spawning in the middle room. That subjugator is preventing the resonance box from spawning, so you're going to want to kill the subjugator quickly so that the box spawns, and then you're going to deposit, and that's going to be how you get more time to complete the encounter. You should be doing this with about 2 minutes, a minute and a half left. Sometimes you'll get down to under a minute, which is fine because after depositing, you'll get still upwards of like 4 minutes or so. But if you do it properly, of course, you'll basically max the timer out and you'll get like a whole another 5 minutes, or 4:45 ish, to do the whole thing again a second and a third time, because that's the whole encounter, is doing exactly what we discussed 3 times successfully. Now in the middle room, as you're progressing back and forth, it's less important now that we know the mechanics. In the beginning, though, it was quite important. Is there's going to be these triangles with kind of resonance material around them. If you walk through them, or if you walk directly under the hand from the boss, they'll give you ticking damage, and they'll give you like a darkness debuff, and they can kill you once they fully snap and pop. If you're running through them and you have lower health, it'll actually finish you off. So just be careful as you're crossing through the middle room to watch out for those little triangle formations. Those are going to be more important on the final boss encounter, and they're there to kind of introduce you to what they look like. But for now, they're just kind of a bothersome mechanic that's there to help kill you and to help keep you from going into the rooms quickly, because sometimes he'll block off an entire entrance to a room, and you have to make the choice of, do I have enough time to run through this pattern, or do I just wait until it pops and then go in to help my teammates who are already in there and I'm behind? So now that we've got all the main encounter mechanics out of the way, and we've kind of gotten to the point where we've talked about one full transition between all the sides and a successful deposit, I do want to make sure that everybody knows again how to lock in the pillars, because that's one thing that people struggle with the most, is how do I lock in the pillar? Again, what you're going to do is you're going to have your resonance stacks. You're going to pick up to 3 in your room. All you need is specifically just one to close the pillar, but ideally you want to have your 2 or 3, because when you close the pillar, it's going to take one from you, leaving you with 1 or 2 remaining, and you want to be contributing to the deposit to get more time for your team. So you're going to pick up your resonances. You're going to tell them to send you back the energy. As they're sending you back the energy, you're going to shoot again the little triangle in the center of the pillar. That pillar is then going to close once you've successfully stepped onto your plate with the proper timing, and that's how you succeeded in closing the pillar. Again, that's the biggest sore spots. That's why I'm touching on it a second time before getting into the enemies. And the reason why it's important for you to understand the enemies is these enemies are going to exist throughout the raid, but the enemies themselves in this encounter are what allows you to progress. You're going to find a lot of times, if you're faster than the other team, you're going to end up kind of sitting and waiting because of how the enemies progress back and forth. Because again, killing one enemy will pop up another enemy. And how the rooms work is, whether you're a middle team or a corner team, when you enter your first room, you're going to have a set of smaller enemies, being goblins or harpies. Then you're going to have a set of supporting enemies, whether they be the attendants, which are the upgraded scions with the kind of rapid fire solar weapons, so you can mitigate that with solar damage, or you're going to have hobgoblins, which are going to be sniping at you from the back of the room. Now, in the very first room, of course, you're going to have that orange minotaur with a void shield. Killing that orange minotaur again will spawn a hydra for the opposite team. So the faster team is going to be piling on enemies on the other team. And it's also going to open up the second room. Killing the hydra will open up the next room to progress to. And then same thing, killing the overload will open up the rooms to the middle. So each time you kill another wave or another set of these progressive enemies, that's going to help keep your path going. If you ever find yourself stuck, it's because your other team is struggling and they're too slow, or just slower than you, and that's why you can't get into the next room. So don't worry about getting stuck, just be ready to go into the next door. Now, the frozen attendants are really something that you want to prioritize, because not only do they have their rapid fire weapons, but they can put down stasis mines, like dust filled areas, that really prevent you from going through certain areas. They can cover doorways, they can cover the plate. So you want to try to make sure that those are killed quickly. And then once you've killed the hydra and you're on the overload for the other side, once they've killed their hydra and sent you the overload, or vice versa, you're going to want to make sure that you get that overload stun before you fully go into the room with all the enemies, because there's usually a couple of hobgoblins waiting to snipe you on top of the overload shooting you, plus all the little enemies. and the overload will sometimes not stun. So just kind of stay at the door, try to kite the overload to the front. Make sure you get the overload stun in before you move all the way in, and of course run full survivability. So you're going to want to run healing grenades. You're going to want to run things that are going to give you overshield, have the ability to go invisible, just a way to get out of a panic situation because a lot of damage will be going out in a short period of time. It was especially that way on contest mode, but it's still going to be challenging-ish on normal mode. And for the Tormentor, you want to ideally be out and ready to kill the Tormentor. And the way that you can do that is the Overload team that gets to the Overload first says, hey, we've got our Overload. The other team can then leave their room and go back into the middle room. And you can be ready and waiting for that Tormentor to spawn. Pop its shoulders right when it spawns in, when it's not moving. And then move on to whatever other way you decide to kill the Tormentor, whether it be burning supers or using like the Still Hunt sniper rifle, using your heavy ammo. What I was doing was I was popping my super in the overload room and then allowing that super to then carry me into the tormentor. I was able to use the last half of my super on the tormentor, and then I was able to use my heavy linear, which gets a boost from having a super in to cook his crit spot. And that's how we were really burning down our tormentors very quickly in our run. And of course, every now and then I would see an odd Nova bomb come out of nowhere to help cook him as well. So that's kind of the strategy that you want to take into this: is how do I progress the room? Song of Flame is again is very strong because you can wipe out 2 rooms at least before your Song of Flame runs out. Get in there and then kill that Tormentor quickly because you want to do it again 2 times. So once you've done the phase all the way through the Tormentor a second time, all the doors open up, and that's going to give you free access to your plates so that you can get ready and get set before ads spawn in when the first person touches their plate. The ads that spawn in are going to have smaller enemy waves and they're going to have attendants. And then the second set of ads are going to either have like a Hydra to deal with, or you're going to have a orange bar Minotaur that's shielded that's going to try to come punch you and run you down to deal with. So just be ready for that. Have a healing rift set up or have some type of defensive position so that you can not only defend yourself against the ads with the person who is doing the ad clear, but you can also focus on the plate mechanics and not lose the plate mechanics in your fight. You don't want to get too tunnel visioned. You don't want to step on the plate a little bit early because you're stressed out from all the ads spawning. You want to make sure that you have a good ad clear rotation, essentially, so that your plate is clean when it comes time for you to touch your plate. So you don't fail your chain of the encounter, your side of the encounter as a team. Now that contest mode is over, when you guys are done depositing your residents in the middle area and you've killed the subjugator and deposited it into the box, you should have like 3 to 4 minutes left minimum. If you're a little bit less than that, you may get a little bit tight on your timings. But the key is just to get through 3 phases of this. So on your third and final run, you don't really need a whole lot of time because you don't actually have to do more than one chain. And you just grab 2 resonances, one falling off from you, for example, from the person that's doing the plate, and then of course the other ones that are going to spawn in the center being picked up by the ad clear person who's going to be making a loop while clearing ads, picking up resonance in the middle, coming back to your side to help clear the bottom plate, going back to the top plate, and then doing that again over and over again so that they can actually have resonance to deposit. But again, on the very last one, you just need to make sure that you're banking 1 resonance from each side. You don't even have to have like 3 or 4 or 5 resonances. So you just do one quick chain, boom, boom, second chain lock in the pillar, and then run into the middle room, kill the subjugator, and then you're done once you get that third one in. Because it originally was theorized, again, it was like 45 of the energy or the resonance energy in order to complete the encounter, but it was just 3 full passes and having a successful 3 full 2 plate 2 pillar closes and deposit in order to get it done. And so that's pretty much the whole encounter. That's going to be basically the entire important portion of the encounter guide. Once you've got everybody broken up into the corner room and the middle room, once you've gotten a good rhythm on what ads you're going to kill, what ads you're going to leave to somebody else, once you've got a good idea of how you're going to run your weapon setups, either blinding grenade launchers, you can be using, again, machine guns for ad clear, and then using a sniper rifle for like a special sniper rifle like Still Hunt for the Tormentor, and picking a super that's going to be conducive to your survival. Those 3 things, once you have those balanced out, you're going to find that you're quickly progressing and easily progressing through all 3 of the chambers, getting that Tormentor spawn. Then it's about getting the Tormentor killed quickly and getting everybody out, like all 6 players, into the middle room so you don't leave a chain open, and then quickly getting to your corner or your middle room that opens up in the new set, coming back and identifying after you kill the second Tormentor where your plates are, quickly is going to be another thing to kind of graduate to before you get this encounter completed, because it's going to take teams usually a few times from the very first time doing it to kind of grasp and concept the timing between the two plates. It's actually quite a lot of time between the time you touch the first plate and the time that the energy reaches the second plate. And you really have a little bit of time to make sure you're clearing ads, put down something for survivability like a healing grenade or healing rift, or going in biz, however you're surviving on your plate, and then getting prepared and looking at the plate and making sure that the pool is there before you touch the plate so you don't ruin the chain. And how you clear ads is important too in this encounter. For me, again, like I said, I was trying to kind of keep it like to a little dance of using the first room with just regular special or regular primary ammo in the first room, and then maybe using a little bit of heavy to kill the more dangerous threats like the attendants and the snipers, then burning down the first orange bar enemy, whether that be the Hydra or the Minotaur, wherever section you're at in the room. And then what I would do again is I would pop my super on the overload to make sure that that one died quickly and still have some super left to go out into the Tormentor. If you have like a one and done super, then you're just going to want to make sure you kill the overload with your heavy and then use your one and done super, like a Needle Storm or a Nova Bomb as a Warlock, for example, on the Tormentor. If you're running Hunter, then you're going to either want to run your new Arc Super for ad clear so that you can clear groups and get in there quickly between the rooms using the dagger to throw you between the rooms, essentially throwing you to the door of the next room. Or you're going to want to hit like Silence and Squall, for example, on the overload, which will stun and slow the overload, but also release a tornado in that room to keep clearing that room. If you wanted to save it as well, you can save it for when it comes to defense. If you're the defend person of the two plates, you can lay a Silence and Squall down in one room and then go and clear the other room, and that Silence and Squall will effectively protect the person that's in the room doing the plate from the next set of ad spawns, because it'll remain long enough while you're physically protecting the other person on the other plate. I was running the Helion aspect so that I would get that additional solar buddy so that he was helping lob grenades at some of the heavier threats. It was helping me kill hobgoblins quickly because hitting them with that Helion was not letting them go into their defensive stance where they shield up and start to regenerate health. Also, if you have orbs on the ground, you can wait until you are near an orb and pick that orb up before you start attacking them. Because when you have Radiant, of course, if your weapon is not already set to some enemy type, you can actually use that weapon to then pierce the shields of the hobgoblins and continue to damage them, keep them from regenerating their health, and get rid of them quickly, get rid of their threat quickly. And then, of course, the Titan is actually really, really helpful to use the new Titan super. Those axes do a ton of damage and can clear large sections of enemies. It can stun the overload, for example, with its suppression abilities, and it does a really good job killing the Hydra and the Minotaur as well. Strand Titan was actually very strong too, I saw in a lot of the day one footage, because the Strand Titan can essentially fly around with the grapple meleeing groups of enemies using a 1-2 punch shotgun after the melee to quickly take out the Hydras, the Hobgoblins, and then of course the Overload as well. Once you get the Overload stun in, you can get in there and give him a good 1-2 punch and knock him down pretty quickly too. So those are the things that I would prioritize, is just kind of abilities that are not only good at survivability, but also have an offensive use, and try to kind of reduce the amount of time that you're spending clearing ads and increase the amount of time that you're spending safely doing the plate mechanics and kind of getting the way to shut down the plates to a T, because there's like a dance to it. There's like a special timing where that first person sends that energy back to you. You're kind of instinctually shooting the pillar and then just ready to actually hit the plate to lock it in. It feels good once you get that down, seeing that plate lock in and moving over to the next thing. And you want to make sure you keep your head, because sometimes you'll forget to even shoot the pillar, and then you're sending back the energy and you're like, oh crap, send it back to me again. Little stuff like that you want to clean up. If you follow this video all the way to this point, you should be well prepared for this encounter when you get in there. Again, thank you very much for all my new subscribers and everybody that's kind of stuck with me through these guides. I know you guys appreciate kind of the style that I have set up, where I'm explaining a guide for people who are like myself, who do a lot of solo content or don't have a set group sometimes to do these raids, and you have to kind of put together a group of strangers that you met for the first time, get them organized, and get them set up to the point where you'll succeed. This is going to be one of those raids where that's super important, because the coordination that it requires and the level of performance that it requires for you to do these mechanics while being harassed by ads, while having a white mechanic going on in the background, while also having to pay attention to symbols, because as you progress into encounters 2, 3, 4, and 5, there's going to be more symbols to look out for, more things to keep in your head, more things to memorize and try not to forget. You'll get to that point if you continue to do the research like we're doing now by watching this video, and then go out there and get those reps in, because sometimes it's just you have to do it. No matter how much you look into it, no matter how many videos you watch to kind of explain all of this, the best thing that you can do is to get out there and get that practice in and find yourself a good flow, a good kind of energy about going through your side of your mechanics in this raid. And once you've done that and you've kind of got your rhythm and you can keep that rhythm going for a sustained amount of time, that's when these encounters are going to start falling over for your team. Or that's when these encounters are going to get kind of trivialized by even a team of people who have never done it together. So for me on contest mode, I was working on the second encounter the whole time after completing this first encounter. Once I get the second encounter done in non-contest mode, I'll be able to put up a guide kind of showing specifically what that damage looks like for a non-contest mode. Good teams were able to get the boss down to half in contest mode. Most teams, though, were getting the boss down to like around just over a third of his health each time, meaning it's a 3-phase. And even the people that get him down to half were usually 3-phasing him. They were not pushing him into final stand so they can go get ammo and have final stand ammo. But for most teams, regularly, they're going to have had to have final stand through their 3rd phase and not really getting a 4th phase, because it's difficult enough even to get to damage in the first place in contest mode on the second boss. So I'll get that encounter up as soon as I can. Thanks very much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video once I do.
It's like, why are you fucking texting me? What a bed, bitch.
Bottom.
You don't even play the game, and you've been online just talking to me this entire time. Must want some dick. Keep her right on you.
We got overload.
Okay, Tormentor spawning.
One shoulder down, 2 shoulders down. Down.
Oh, there you go. Good time.
Behind hand.
Bottom again. You guys should have a Hydra.
Yep.
We got overload.
Alright, just
Tormentor. Watch out for the triangle.
one shoulder, 2 shoulders. Dead.
Plates, let's go.
I have push ring.
I got the second plate.
Okay, sending.
Sending it back.
Sending.
Send him back.
Okay, sending it to you.
I think you're muted, Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
Sorry, I
Send.
didn't mean to, yeah.
Send, you're good.
I didn't mean to, I was talking to the video.
You're good, you're good.
Sending back.
Close it on this one.
Waiting.
I've got 3. I'm gonna go
Send whenever you're ready.
Send mid actually gate pyramids.
Sending that one more time. And I'll close.
Actually gate pyramids.
send
Right,
back
get times 3 and we're good to go. I'm on times 3. Next time you
Closed.
send it, I'm closing it.
Yeah, send. I'm good.
Let's go.
Napoleon, do you have 3?
All done.
I have 2. Ah, 2. Yeah, that's good.
It's finishable.
Yeah, it's dead.
Get ready to close.
Careful.
Come on,
Everyone put in.
me
Everyone put in.
box.
Napoleon, did you box it?
We have 4 minutes.
Yeah, there it
We
goes.
have 4
We
minutes.
got
20.
more than 4 minutes.
Easy. Easy game. Literally,
Yeah,
you guys are
sometimes-
great. You just gotta do it
Also,
Make sure
consistently.
make sure you check again, because sometimes it only takes one of your
It only
residents
goes
to-
one at a time.
Yeah. It's gonna be bottom.
Sorry. I'm in the room behind.
No, you're good, you're good.
That's one. One down. Game.
You guys are about to get your Hydra.
Wait.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
Waiting. Now it's a dead
Alright.
Hydra.
You guys should have overload.
Alright. Dating him. Go ahead and send him if you can. I'm gonna try to get in his way.
We are
Use
good.
Tormentor.
Fine.
Tormentor.
Jumping.
Dead.
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 Left, left,
Right.
left.
Fucking prove it. Easy game.
Bottom corner for us, yeah. Watch out.
We're going beneath.
From behind.
Never mind. We're gonna go back. Take it back.
Go to the next room. I feel.
Man, I fucking love
I
this
got you,
fucking
I
GL,
got
bro.
What? Wait. Gotta wait. Never mind. We don't gotta wait. Sorry, I'm throwing with these calls.
Tormentor.
Tormentor.
Oh, back to the middle then.
Fuck is he?
Right here
Oh,
on the left.
Right on the corner. Both down.
Thanks. Good
Easy.
kill.
Lights, let's go.
This is the push room. Next room is the receive. So push in here. Sizzle.
Whenever you're ready.
Whenever you're
It's
ready,
probably
boss.
over here.
Pushing!
Yep. Oh,
Taking. Done.
Waiting.
Hold on, I
Pushing.
Push whenever you're
gotta
ready.
deal with these snipers.
Right.
Sending it back to you.
Done.
Waiting.
Napoleon, make sure you get to my pyramid.
Yeah, yeah,
Pushing.
yeah, I'm going.
I'm gonna miss that
Yeah.
first one. So.
Alright, so I need to send it again.
Right. Next time you send it, I'm gonna
Yeah.
assume you have times 3.
I need to clear these ads. Sending it.
Sending.
Yes, as I got you.
Closing.
Send back.
Closed.
I'm going mid, I'm grabbing.
We're good?
No resonance in mid.
Sending it back.
We're done
do,
on our
do
side.
one more than close.
Yep.
Yeah, there was no resonance here in mid. That's fine.
Sending it back.
Mid has...
Yeah.
Close it on that one if you
I
can.
close it now, guys.
It's closed.
Alright, center.
Mid. I got tank 3.
Dead.
Right.
The
Box.
box.
Alright, everyone done. Who's still in the rooms?
I'm coming. I just picked up some.
You're gonna need to
Come,
hurry.
come.
I don't have any snacks.
Be careful. Be careful.
What's the western part? That's still...
Why is it my phone?
Oh shit, it's
It's
being
here,
late.
it's here.
Wait for the thing. Yeah, there you go.
Everyone duck, everyone make sure you duck.
Make sure the
I'm
book
good,
is
I'm
gone
good.
off the
Make
side.
sure-
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. 4 minutes.
Easy. 4 minutes.
Yeah!
That's
So,
easy.
so you're saying we only do a one pass and close? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, one part.
Make sure you
Somebody picks up
make
one.
sure
At
everybody
least
gets.
one.
Not
Extra
everybody
person.
gets residence, but
Like 2, basically.
Yeah, if you
just
see it,
if
you see it, just grab it.
To have a dunk,
if you see it, just grab it.
essentially.
I mean, we don't
I'm
really
so
need
late.
I mean, we can.
Your Hydra's coming in now. Do you guys have overload? Or do we?
Yep. It's practically dead already.
Y'all's ours? Okay.
Go mid.
Alright.
Get this fucking
Fermented.
coming up.
I got your heals.
Taps down.
Tell the
Halfway,
first torment
jumping.
goodbye. Goodbye.
No way.
I got
I
the
got you.
one
I
with
got-
the-
Oh,
Oh
shit,
shit.
he's through the door.
He'll get teleported in. He'll get teleported. That's fine. Might be able to run into the wall.
Bottom.
Bottom, yeah.
I can't. Sorry.
The doors
Very
will
good,
open in a
you
second.
Take your time.
Go middle. We're gonna reunite with him. We just have to get to him.
So you got for a couple of minutes.
Sizzle, we will reunite
Oh,
reunite
Yeah,
with you
you're good.
in a
You're
second.
good, you're good. I see.
We just gotta go crack mode.
You guys have a Hydra?
Yeah, what can we get now?
Alright,
This
Dead.
is
doors open. You have an overload. You have an overload right in front of the door.
I'm gonna go res first.
Where is he? Stone.
Alright, we got the 2 plates.
Yeah, boys, how many
Keep
best
it down.
have left?
Trying, man.
You got your Tormentor
Yeah,
coming
good,
in?
good.
Torment, I'm coming in.
Tormentor now.
Okay, getting
Go.
shoulder.
push plate on Napoleon.
Shoulders down, shoulders down.
Killing it now.
Okay.
Plates,
Right.
let's
Minute and a half.
I
Right,
push it
Sizzle,
here.
in
I'm going
here,
there.
this is the push room. Push it whenever you're ready.
Where's the deposit
in.
room? It's down here?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the deposit room.
Okay, let's clear these ads real quick and then we'll do it.
Right. Go
Waiting.
go get a resonance, Sizzle. If one spawned. I
Push,
know I need
push.
that right.
One spawn.
Guys, we need help with these ads.
Send it, Sizzle, whenever you're ready. You might have to send that again, Sizzle. It's
I'm
only
sending it.
for
Yeah,
normal
it's we got a thing. We got a thing.
RV, help him.
Yeah, I'm helping, I'm helping.
Close it on this one.
Trying.
Where's this?
Right. Whenever you're ready, Sizzle. I'm ready now.
He's dying. He's dying. Send.
Yeah,
send.
just-
Send.
just
Send.
close it.
Whenever you're
Send.
ready.
Yeah. Go.
Close.
Close the boys.
Please. Get close.
Nice.
Sending it again.
Close. Everybody. Oh.
RV, you have a resonance, alright?
Yeah, I got 3.
Other side, you guys good?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, third middle,
Bullshit.
third middle, third middle.
Butcher him.
good. Everybody knows.
Right, dunk.
Back.
Dunk.
Hold it, put it.
Whoever has it, just dunk it.
Yeah, baby.
Everyone
we're
done,
done.
everyone done.
Yeah.
Easy
Let's
game.
go.
Good
Easy
shit,
game.
boys.
It's so
good job.
easy.
Shit, bro.
This is the easiest game I've ever played in my life.
Fuck,
Oh,
honestly,
shit,
no
bro.
one leave. This is cracked. This is
GG's.
actually an insane group. No one leave,
What a
please.
fucking group.